Hi everyone, welcome back. It's been a couple weeks since we've been together, and during that time, I've gotten the kids off to school. Yay! I'm sure a lot of you parents out there know the feeling. I love my kids, but it's nice to have them back to school and back in a routine. So now that we're back in our routine, one of the things that I try not to settle down and into is those easy things to go to, right? The big bags of the snack chips, the big bags of the unhealthy snacks. And so one of the ways that you can make chip-like items, snack for your kids, and make it a little bit healthier is to use kale instead. So today I'm going to teach you a recipe for how to make kale chips. You can make them a variety of ways, which I'll walk you through. But it's real simple, it's real easy. So without further ado, let's get started. So today's recipe is only going to have 4 really basic steps. Step number 1, you're going to preheat your oven and make sure that it's heating to 250 degrees. It's a very low temperature and we want to keep it low so that we don't burn the edges of the kale when we make the chips. They would become bitter, the kids wouldn't like them, no bueno. So preheat your oven to 250 degrees. The next thing that you're going to do, step number 2, is you are going to go ahead and prep your kale. And by prep, I mean you're going to take it off its stems and you're going to turn it into chips. Now, there is a cheating way that you could prep this kale, and I'm going to tell you, don't do it. At the store, you can actually go buy prepackaged bags of already chopped kale. And while you might think that it's going to be an easier method to make these chips, it's not, because what they do is they actually cut the kale leaves and they leave the stem in. And the stem is very bitter. So your kids won't like it if you try to cheat and make this the wrong way. Instead, bite the bullet, go over to the green section of your produce, get the big bushel of kale. This is fresh grown out of our garden, but get the big bushel of kale. I also recommend getting a curly leaf kale rather than a flat leaf. It's going to be a little bit sweeter, but you can use either. Just, try it and experiment and see what your taste preferences are. I recommend a curly leaf. And then go ahead and pull your leaves in little chip-like chunks off of these stems. Now I've pre-washed this kale, so I'm going to drop it right into a strainer in my salad spinner so that I can get the excess moisture off of the leaves when I'm done. But I'm simply going to pull this in chip-sized, bite-sized chunks off the stems, and you'll see I'm going to leave the stem behind. This is going to go in compost. I'm not going to use this part because this is going to make my kale bitter, and it's also pretty woody, so it's not going to have a good texture. And I'm just going to keep doing this until I have enough for what my family needs. Now, oftentimes when you get bushels from the store, it's going to be more than what you're going to want to make chips. And so there's a variety of other ways you can incorporate the rest of that bushel into your family meals. You can add it as part of soup like you would spinach. You can incorporate it and use it as a third replacement of lettuce in your salads. I don't like to do a whole salad with kale just because I find that it's a little bit too much and I get too tired of it too quickly. But if I put about a third of it in with the rest of my salad greens, pretty much good to go. So that's other ways that you can use your big bushel. Okay, now that I've got my kale removed from the stems, it's washed, it's drained, it's ready to go, I'm simply going to spread it out evenly onto a baking sheet that's been lined with parchment paper to help prevent it from sticking. You want to try to get it into as much of a single layer as possible. It will shrink as it cooks, so you're going to have quite a full single layer on your baking sheet to start with. Okay. And this is getting you ready for step number 3. So step number 3, spread it out evenly in a single layer onto your baking sheet. And then you're going to go ahead and grab some olive oil. Now, I have an olive oil sprayer. It makes it really easy for me to go ahead and lightly coat a thin layer of olive oil onto the kale. Now, if you don't have one of these, you can actually buy the aerosol cans of olive oil sprayer, much like cooking spray, at your local market, or you can simply use a brush or a bag and some olive oil and shake it all around to get it nice and evenly coated. And then after I've sprayed the olive oil, I'm going to go ahead and work on my flavoring. Simple flavoring, you can simply just coat it with a thin layer of salt and you're done and ready to go and put it into the oven. That's a simple flavor. Now, my kids like and prefer much more complex flavors. So to give you some examples of ways in which you can season this outside of salt, you could use garlic powder. You could sprinkle it with garlic powder. You could also find a lot of stores carry these just add mixes, and you could find a garlic parmesan mixture, typically made for roasted potatoes, but there's nothing that says that you can't use it on kale. We're in California, and everyone knows that Californians are really big on their ranch. So you could actually even use like a ranch dressing dip mix. So that's what I'm going to use today. I have a little bit left over from a half batch of dip I've made previously. And I'm just going to shake this on quite liberally. Just to give it a real good season here. Give it a nice dusting of the seasoning. And that's it. You're ready to go for step number 4, which is to place this in the 250-degree oven that you've preheated. And you're going to put it in there for 25 to 30 minutes. Now remember, everyone's oven cooks differently. So you'll want to keep an eye on your kale and make sure it doesn't get burned. You want the edges to be gently browned, and you want them to still be a little bit pliable before you bring it out of the oven. Okay, so in just about 30 minutes in my oven, about a minute or two short, these came out, and you can see that they have wilted up quite a bit. And I don't know if you can hear, but they've got a very crispy texture to them. And you can see if you squeeze them in your hand, they're going to crumble just into nice little crispy crumbs. And I do that to show you that they do get crunchy and crispy, just like a chip. I'm going to let these cool for just a little bit, and then they'll be ready for snack time. There you have it. 4 really quick and easy steps to a healthier take on a school snack, after school snack, or just at home treat. Enjoy your Kale Chips. Till next time.